Imagine living in the Middle Ages. It's mid-July, the sun is relentless, and you're wrapped in layers of wool, linen, and leather. There are no fans, no cold showers, and certainly no air conditioning. You can't just grab an iced drink from the fridge because, well, refrigerators are centuries away from being invented. Yet medieval people didn't just survive the summer heat. They mastered it with ingenious tricks and techniques that modern society has all but forgotten. These weren't just random hacks. They were life-saving strategies passed down through generations, shaped by both necessity and clever observation of nature. In this video, we'll dive into 7 brilliant medieval life hacks to beat the summer heat. From architecture that worked like natural air conditioning to foods and clothing designed to keep the body cool, to simple but powerful survival routines. Stick around until the end, because the last tip is so practical you can start using it today. No medieval castle required. 1. Underground living. In medieval Europe, people understood something we often overlook today. The earth itself is one of the best insulators. This led to the creation of partially sunken houses, earth homes, built directly into hillsides or dug 2 to 3 feet below ground level. Why? Because soil maintains a stable temperature. Even during blazing summers, the underground air stays 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the outside. Walking into one of these homes on a hot day would feel like stepping into natural air conditioning. But medieval people didn't stop there. They also built root cellars and cool chambers deep under their homes. These weren't just for food storage. They were the place to escape the heat. Farmers might take afternoon naps in these cool chambers, while servants used them for food preparation during peak heat hours. Interestingly, monasteries and castles refined this hack. Some castles in southern Europe had underground tunnels designed not just for defense, but also for cool airflow. Imagine walking through a stone corridor that feels like a natural cold breeze on a 100-degree Fahrenheit day. That's medieval engineering at work. Modern takeaway. Basements and earth-sheltered homes still use this principle. If you don't have one, even spending time on the lowest floor of your house during summer can reduce exposure to heat. 2nd, clay pots. Long before refrigeration, medieval people had a genius solution for cooling both water and food: unglazed clay pots. Here's the trick. When you pour water into a porous clay container, the water slowly seeps to the outer surface, where it evaporates. Evaporation naturally draws heat away, cooling the contents inside. This method could keep water several degrees colder than ambient temperature. This principle wasn't exclusive to Europe. Across the Middle East, these were called zir pots, often made of double-layered clay with damp sand in between. In medieval kitchens, these clay pots acted as mini fridges, storing dairy, meat, or even herbs to keep them fresher. Travelers carried smaller versions of these pots, almost like a medieval water bottle, wrapped in wet cloth to ensure cool drinking water on long journeys. Modern takeaway. Wrap your water bottle in a damp towel and hang it in a breezy spot. It's basically the same hack that worked 700 years ago. 3. Architecture that breathed. Forget AC units. Medieval architects designed homes and castles that cooled themselves naturally. The secret? Passive ventilation. Thick stone walls absorbed heat slowly, while strategically placed windows, often narrow on the outside but wider on the inside, allowed air to flow through while blocking the worst of the sun. In wealthier homes, opposing windows were placed to create a cross breeze that moved hot air out. Courtyards were another brilliant design element. Open at the top, surrounded by shaded arcades, courtyards functioned like natural cooling towers, pulling cooler air through lower rooms while pushing warm air upward. Some larger castles even had ventilation shafts built into their kitchens and great halls. These vertical ducts, often mistaken for chimneys, worked like a primitive exhaust fan, pulling hot air out and letting cooler air circulate. Modern takeaway. If your home gets hot, create your own medieval airflow. Open windows on opposite sides of the house during early mornings and evenings to draw cooler air through. 4. Eating to stay cool. In the Middle Ages, diet was seasonal, and summer meals were deliberately lighter and cooling according to the humoral theory, the belief that foods could heat or cool the body. Common summer foods included fresh cucumbers, melons, and leafy greens, thought to cool the blood. Buttermilk or diluted yogurt drinks, hydrating and easy to digest. Fermented beverages like weak ale or watered wine, often safer than warm, stagnant water. Cold barley soup with herbs like mint or dill, which were believed to bring down internal heat. And here's the kicker. Medieval people timed their meals to avoid peak heat. Midday meals were smaller or skipped altogether, with the main feast often happening after sunset when the air cooled. Modern takeaway. Eating heavy foods or drinking alcohol during peak heat can spike body temperature. Even today, switching to lighter, hydrating foods like fruits, fermented drinks, and herbs is a smart summer strategy. 5. Public fountains and cooling stations. In many medieval towns, public fountains weren't just decorative. They were community cooling hubs. These fountains were often fed by underground aqueducts or spring water, which stayed naturally cold. People filled jugs for drinking, soaked cloths to drape over their heads, or even bathed their feet during the hottest hours. Wealthy estates took this idea to another level by building ornamental fountains in shaded courtyards. The sound of flowing water, combined with the cooling effect of evaporation, created microclimates that felt noticeably cooler. Even medieval inns and roadside stations had water basins for travelers to splash their faces or soak their hats before continuing on long, hot journeys. Modern takeaway. A small water feature in your garden or balcony, even a DIY bowl of water with plants, can cool the air around it by several degrees. 6. The art of shade. Medieval people were obsessed with shade, and for good reason. Homes were designed with overhanging roofs, wooden awnings, and trellises covered in grapevines. Not only did this block harsh sunlight, but the greenery helped cool the air as water evaporated from the leaves. In wealthier homes, courtyards were lined with pergolas or vines that turned outdoor spaces into cool, shaded retreats even during midday. The real masterpiece? Living roofs. In Northern Europe, houses were built with thick layers of sod, moss, and grass on top of wooden structures. These acted like natural insulation, keeping interiors cool in summer and warm in winter. Modern takeaway. Planting fast-growing vines or even keeping potted plants near sun-exposed walls can drop temperatures dramatically. Nature still beats metal when it comes to heat. 7. Slow living. Perhaps the most clever trick medieval people used to survive the summer heat wasn't physical, it was behavioral. Most towns and villages adopted seasonal work schedules. During the hottest hours of midday, often between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m., outdoor work came to a halt. Farmers retreated to shaded barns or cool cellars, merchants closed shop, and people rested. This wasn't laziness, it was survival. Studies show the risk of heat stroke is highest during midday, something medieval peasants learned the hard way. So instead, they woke up early, working in the fields from sunrise until mid-morning, took a long break in the afternoon, and then resumed work at sunset. At night, medieval towns came alive. Feasts, music, and even markets were often held after dark, when cool air finally settled in. Modern takeaway. Instead of fighting the heat, adapt to it. Rearrange your schedule, just as people did hundreds of years ago, to work with nature, not against it. We live in a world of air conditioning and instant cooling, but if the power goes out or the grid fails, most of us wouldn't last a single summer day. Medieval people survived, even thrived, by understanding nature and designing their lives to work with it. From earth homes to green roofs, passive airflow, and seasonal diets, their hacks weren't just clever, they were sustainable and eco-friendly in ways we're only starting to rediscover today. Maybe it's time we borrow a few pages from their book. Which of these medieval summer hacks surprised you the most? Would you try a medieval-style siesta day or build a mini water feature for cooling? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you love uncovering forgotten medieval wisdom that still works in the modern world.